What is up, you fucks? We are back with another Lord Botha stream, and it is the Doom Scroll cast tonight. Yep, if you don't know, this is our podcast stream where we just look up certain things in pop culture going on right now, and we just talk about them. And once we get through all those topics, we do what we call the Doom Scroll, where we just scroll through Twitter and we just react and comment on what we see live together. And that's pretty much it. And I know some people are like, oh, you're going to live scroll Twitter? You're going to live scroll Twitter? Isn't that dangerous? Isn't that spooky? It's not, though. It's really not. If you don't click on weird shit. Don't interact with weird shit. Don't interact with straight up adult content. Shout out to our boy, the Quatering. Because one of the things that kicked off the bullshit that he's dealing with now is the fact that adult content went through his news feed live on stream. Because guess what? He was clicking on adult content on his main account, on his main browser that he's using for stream. This guy, like, if you're gonna use your main browser for streaming, like I do, why would you choose to do that? Why would you choose to do that? Why would you go through this? It doesn't make any sense. Either have a separate browser or just don't interact with that content. It's as easy as that. And then, of course, tries to put the blame on, not him interacting with the content. He blames it on just Elon and Twitter, right? Just Twitter's just so degenerate, guys. Even though we've done 14 weeks worth of shows now, and no real full nudity so far ever that we've accidentally come upon. It's weird. It's weird how that happens, right? It's weird how that happens. Anyway, hope you guys are having a good night. I'm having a pretty good night. I was off work today. Sorry I haven't been able to put out as much content as I want. It's really been like constantly busy. I wish there were two of me because now, of course, because the warm season is here as well, I also have to do yard and general home maintenance outside. Outdoor work, which I hate because I'm a fat indoor cat of a person. I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. And my grass grows so fucking thick so fast, dude. I hate that. I don't know why. I don't know what retarded thought went through my head to be like, oh, let me buy some grass seed and just put the grass seed on the ground instead of just thinking that grass would eventually normally just germinate and grow over the muddy area that was my lawn, or what would have been my lawn next to my house, where the people who used to own my house had like 4 great fucking hounds that ripped up the entire yard. Eventually grass would have grown back there, but I was like, nah, I want to get this stimulated. So I bought grass seed, and now the grass grows there like it had a fucking Turkish hair job. And it is a mound of grass within 2 weeks, especially if we have good rain like we have been. And it's already to the point where it's almost out of hand. I have to mow this motherfucker almost weekly. Bi-weekly for sure. It's annoying as shit. So that takes up my time. Tree trimming takes up my time because I got a fucking tree line next to my house. This is the joys of homeownership, by the way, if you don't know. But anyway, nobody wants to hear about fucking that. Anyway, we're going to go through some subjects tonight. We got fucking Quatering on deck. We're going to talk about that asshole. We got Eric Swalwell. I think he's happy that the Quatering exists because he's taking at least some of the internet heat off of him, at least from some of the more entertainment realms that also cover politics. But the Quatering situation is getting bad because now Matt Jarbo turned out to be right, and all the big boy streamers are picking it up. The Asmongold's of the world, the Hassans of the world, H3. They are picking it up, and they are fucking roasting this guy. calling him out on his bullshit, which might be the only thing that wakes him up. Probably not, though, because he's so deep into the fake Christian grift now. Because Melanie Mack's fake Christian grift has got its fucking claws into him. And he can't get fucking out. It's sad, man. It's sad. I hate seeing degenerates. I don't like people being degenerates, but a worse thing is to see people who are degenerates trying to live like they're fake, moral, upstanding Christian folk. When they're not. They're just degens. Be who you are. Even if that person is somebody I don't agree with or don't like particularly everything that you do. I got parts of me that are degenerate. That's for damn sure. I'm also gonna hide those parts. I'm not gonna put them on blast for everybody, okay? Anyway, and I'm not gonna use my main browser to look them fucking up. So fucking dumb, dude. Anyway. We're gonna talk about all that. Also, there's so much entertainment news that just dropped too. I just saw something right before I started the stream that was like, now I'm gonna have to talk about that too. So I had to bookmark it. So there's a lot packed in tonight. I don't know if we'll get to all of it because I gotta set time aside to do Doom Scroll as well. But yeah, how are you guys? Hope you guys are having an all right time, all right night. How was your weekend? That's that. But we're gonna go ahead, move on. Let's pull up some of the subjects. It took me a minute to start up the stream, by the way, because my sound, my soundboard, you know. Oh fuck! It doesn't even. Let's fuck it. Is that? Do I have that turned off? I just had it turned off. I'm a retard.
How dare you?
There we go. And my soundboard, which you just heard there, was not working, so I had to unplug it and plug it back in. It's weird how that works, right? It's weird how that fixes things most of the time. But anyway, let's take a look at some of these subjects here. Now, the real question is, what are we going to start with? What are we going to start with? Should we start with quartering? I guess so. I'm going to need a lot of energy to get through fucking quartering. Yeah. Let's see where we can start. Wait. Oh yeah, that's gonna be a rough video. The lady who accused Eric Swalwell of SA she made a public statement, and that's gonna be a rough video to sit through. So, but we're gonna do it. So where do we start here? Let's start with the statement. So, if you don't know what's happened to the quartering, a brief rundown of all the things that have happened. Essentially, the quartering has been kind of shifting his content for a very long time away from covering just entertainment subjects to also covering politics, covering cultural topics, and he's brought on a lot of people, and he has this obsession with bringing in like former Tim Pool people that worked with Tim Pool, just because he wants to, like, I don't know, own Tim Pool or roast Tim Pool. It's not the win that he thinks it is, and I'm not a big Tim Pool sycophant either. Tim Pool is one of those guys, again, that is a guy that gets you into other people, right? Gets you interested in other people that come on his show or you hear about in that sphere. And quartering, he picks up a lot of those, you know, Isle of Misfit toys from Tim Pool, and he also picks up a lot of random streamers that, a lot of them, I'm not going to lie, are female, And particularly, it turns out, are women that he wants to fuck. This is because some DMs got realized not that long ago of him asking if certain people are single. And there's been a lot of evidence of him making suggestive comments or just generally being a creep in that Nepal kind of way of being a creep, right? So, yeah, he was doing that. And generally, he went on his streams. He was complaining about numbers. He was comparing his numbers to like fucking Nerdrotics numbers and Critical Drinkers numbers and Jeremy and Geeks and Gamers numbers. It was all very gross and like, why are we doing this? Like, his pattern of behavior and his blocking and unblocking people and his, cracking back at people and then deleting tweets and then, getting drunk and going on drunk Twitter rants. It's all very evident of a very impulsive personality, impulsive person, somebody who has impulse control. And you look, then the reason why he's complaining about money, by the way, let's get this clear, is because he is an impulsive person and he's probably spending money hand over fist, not just on his production, but also on his personal frivolous bullshit, like his plane and his fucking RC car track. And when people are like, hey, maybe you should get your spending under control, he does the classic people who spend too much money excuse bullshit. Like, oh, I can't have nice things. Oh, I can't have, fun things to entertain myself. I put in so much hard work. I deserve these things. They always go back to that statement, by the way. They always go back to, well, I deserve this because you worked so. You don't deserve shit. You don't deserve shit. You deserve nothing. You earn it. You earn that shit. Go out there and fucking earn it. If you can't afford it, you haven't earned it. You didn't plan for it. And stop living past your means. All right? We all, if we got certain, listen, there are some people in this world that if you gave them a certain amount of money, it would fix all their problems and they'd just be able to live a normal life. And there's some people like Jeremy that if you gave them a whole bunch of money, it'd be gone in a week and they'd still be in the same fucking problems. I guarantee it. But not only is he having these sort of professional problems that is causing him to spiral, he's also having personal problems. There's been stuff leaked about, that he is essentially a cuck. He likes you. I only have to say it once, really. I'm trying to abide by. I don't want to get in YouTube trouble here, okay? You know what that is. He's into a certain lifestyle, all right? And that lifestyle goes completely counterintuitive to what he wants to present himself now as, which is a good Christian boy with upstanding morals and a Melanie Mac simp, because he is a Melanie Mac simp, except he just doesn't want to, pretend to be the ultra super Christian that she also pretends to be, which she's not. Never forget, this is the same Melanie Mac that used to work alongside Jeff Keighley as a shill. Like, then no, she is a chameleon person, changes as she needs to change to survive and adapt and continue to make money and con money out of people. This is the way of the world. This is the way of the world for her. And he's living a life that's at odds with what he wants to present himself as. And he's generally treating people poorly while doing all this. It's all very hypocritical, all very bad. And also, go back to the DMs leaks and all that. This is a guy that apparently in DM leaks was saying things to like Brittany Venti of all people. I don't know why. If there was somebody I was going to say some wild shit to, especially regarding women, it wouldn't be to Brittany Venti. Because if anybody's going to keep some shit that you say for a rainy day, you know, it's going to be Brittany Venti. Brittany Venti has a track record of exposing people just based upon the shit that they say to them. You know what she strikes me as? Brittany Venti is one of those people that probably is super, super cool and laid back and just a really good listener. And like really cares about what you're saying, or at least is good at showing or pretending that she cares what you're saying when you're saying. And it feels genuine, or maybe it even is genuine. And in front of those kinds of people, people tend to open up and they say some stuff that they shouldn't say. They say some stuff that they shouldn't say because they start to think that that person is a deeper friend to them than they actually are, even if they're just an acquaintance. And so she gets information that probably shouldn't be divulging to her. And something tells me that Quatering was in this kind of way, and also he probably wanted to fuck her, mostly because that was the subject of one of the DMs, is that he literally told Brittany Venti that he wanted to like give her his babies. Like, why would you tell why would you tell anybody? Why would you tell anybody that that's not your wife? I've been with my wife for 10 years, almost 10 years now. I've been married to her for 6, I think. I don't remember. It's been a minute. But you know what I've never done? I've never told a woman that's not my wife that I want to get them pregnant. Interestingly enough, it's never happened to me. It's never been a thing that's crossed my mind. It's weird. But yeah, he did that. He was also asking if other women that, other streamers, content creators, if they were single. He was, talking weirdly pseudo flirty with them. It's all just very weird. And Kino Casino was making fun of it. They were roasting him. They were exposing all this. They were really going in on him. Have been doing so for weeks. I mean, it's not the only thing they've talked about, but it's been a big subject they've covered. And mostly because they know Quatering fucking hates it. And it's getting to him. Because he's let hints online show that it's getting to him. And finally, when they started talking about the certain bulls on parade, shall we say, concerning Quatering's wife, he got very angry about this. And he contacted them via Twitter. And this is generally what he said. Nope, this one. All right. Me down there. I'm still in the gaming position. There we go. Okay. So this is what he said right here. First will be your YouTube, which is in violation of ban evasion. Easy takedown. And next will be your kick. I literally begged you to be reasonable. I tried everything. You chose this. All I wanted was to let you guys dunk on me. And what he's trying to say here is that he's trying to use the excuse that, oh, well, these guys talked about my wife and my family. That's not cool. So I'm going to have to strike them now. I'm going to have to flag them. And what essentially Quatering did is that he's saying publicly here, I'm going to flag your channels. I'm going to report your channels. Both on YouTube and on Kick. Try to deplatform them. Why? Because they talk shit on him and his family. Because they said things that he could easily just say, yeah, it's not true. And just shake it off and be like, motherfuckers gonna say what they're gonna say. That's all you know what? It's always astonishing, the ego and the hubris on these people. That they could just as easily not think about it. They could just as easily ignore it. You know, motherfuckers say things in comment sections and replies to me all the fucking time. And 90% of the time, I just let it go. I just ignore it. Because there's no point in fighting it, right? A, there's no point. B, guess what? In a couple months time, nobody would probably be looking into this anymore. People would move on to the next thing. Just let it the fuck go. But he couldn't. He had to speak up. He had to do something. He felt challenged. He was tired of being laughed at. He couldn't take the roasting. So he decided to report people like a little bitch. That's what happened here. Now, let's see here. Not only did Quatering, let me pull this up here. Not only did Quatering did he say publicly that he was going to try to get their channels taken down. He also stated, this is from Kiwi Farms. He talked to Josh, the guy the head of Kiwi Farms. I'm not a big Kiwi Farms guy. I'm not massively familiar and deep dive into some of the stuff they cover or, unearth in terms of information. I know they typically get into these kinds of things, but he talked to this guy, Josh, at Kiwi Farms, and he basically talked to him privately about trying to get the channel banned. He said, 5 days from Kiwi Farms here, 5 days after the Quatering threatened to deplatform the Kino Casino unless they agreed to stop discussing potential infidelity in his marriage, Team YouTube has completely banned their entire YouTube channel. Jeremy Hanley bragged about his non-Pajit YouTube rep's power. Josh, can we agree I can take their Kick and YouTube, right? If I actually wanted to. They would be deplatformed outside of outside of DLive. I don't know. I don't know exactly what he's saying. In a week, I don't want that. I just want them to leave my family alone. I don't care about how many Jeremy is a video they put out. Like, I have a trying to stay YouTube friendly again. Rep, you know that, right? One phone call, gone. I have endured a lot with literally the tiniest requests. I actually think they have an incredible ceiling. They are hilarious. They just have to stay within the TOS. They don't have many attempts left. They are amazing at this. The show is hilarious. I would literally be promoting it if they made fun of me. But they don't understand the line. This isn't 2001 at that fucking line right there. This isn't 2001. Why shouldn't it be? What is that what fucking we used to advocate for, right? Channels like Quatering used to advocate for was being able to talk shit like the good old days, right? The old modern warfare lobbies. That's the shit they always say. And now it's like, oh, it's not 2001. At least I will forever know my coffee is better than Peppa's. Your coffee company that
You are coping and seething.
your coffee company that's like constantly out of business according to you. Your coffee company that's always struggling according to you, right? And that you're constantly shilling on your videos that people openly complain about all the time. This strikes me as a guy who's being made fun of and is trying to use a convenient historical excuse to try to report somebody or complain about somebody to fucking HR or whatever. This strikes me as a dude who's being made fun of using a convenient excuse that he thinks he can drum up to get people to stop making fun of him. And trying to laugh it off saying, oh, if it was just me, guys, if they were just making fun of me, I would be fine with it. But, my family, no, it is you. We all know it's you. We can see you. You're upset because they've made fun of you for a long time and you don't want to take it anymore. I get it. I get that it's hard to sit there and be the fucking whooping boy, okay? We've all been bullied, all right? We've all been made fun of. I went through like 8 fucking years of school of being fucking bullied by people, okay? And that was before I was bald and fat. Now I'm balding and fat, all right? And funny enough, I get bullied less. Meanwhile, you so yeah, I can see why other creators get a straw now and other streamers get a straw because the beard creates the fucking Quatering mustache, and that's just fucking gross. I think we can all agree on that. But this is just damning evidence, more damning evidence that he was just upset and he wanted, not just talking about it publicly, but also privately, that he wanted to get these guys out. And the thing is, he says when they get taken down, oh, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. It wasn't me, guys. I swear, I promise. It wasn't me. But the thing is, and I think it's Jeremy from Geeks and Gabers, right? He said this best, and I'm not going to pull up the tweet, but he said this best where he's basically like, it doesn't fucking matter if you did it or not. It matters that you said you wanted them gone. You said it to the public. You said it to well-known people privately. Then the next day, they're gone. What does that mean? What do you think the people are going to think that see that? What dots do you think people are going to connect as to what happened there? No matter what actually happened. Training day, right? It's not about what's true. It's about what you can prove. It's about what you can prove. And I can prove there's a link, a motive between you wanting these motherfuckers gone and now they are gone. That's suspicious. And on the internet, especially social media, suspicion is all you need. And then your reputation is tarnished by this shit, and reputation takes years to build, seconds to destroy. And he's been putting in not just seconds, hours, days worth of destruction into his reputation. It's bad, guys. this is not recoverable, like, kind of shit here. And let's see. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I don't have my bookmarks set up. Oh, yeah. So this motherfucker, you want more proof? This is going to add more fuel to the fire. Because old Quarter Pounder, let me get the, I'm gonna go dark screen for a second. I'm gonna grab my headphones. Okay, I'm back. So, old Quarter Pounder here, he decides that he wants to, be on this live stream, and he goes into his typing, right? And he goes up into his search bar, and this motherfucker, like, just watch what happens.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oops, not that one.
Take a look what you see there. Take a look what you see here. This right here, this line, I don't know if you can see it here, but it says, "Thanks for your report to YouTube." With YouTube support above it, your payment details, all that, but thanks for your report to YouTube.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Now, he tries to explain this, by the way, by saying, like, "Oh, no, guys, I was reporting another channel, okay? It was a Kino Casino, guys. You guys are being ridiculous." But no. We all know. See, he's trying to do the Captain Stupid routine, where he's just like, "Oh, these people are so dumb. They won't put the obvious threads together that I said I wanted these people gone to both my friends privately, and publicly in social media statements. I've fought about it with multiple people about how I want them gone. I then have it exposed that I have a report on YouTube that was made, probably clearly recently, if it's still showing up in the browser history, assuming that Jeremy, I don't know, occasionally fucking clears his browser history. Maybe once in a great big moon, if he has any lick of sense as just a person who uses a fucking computer and the internet. These people won't put the threads together. They won't put the dots together. No. We're not idiots, okay? It's very clear what happened here. You reported... Listen. I still think he would be an absolute fuck. But I would have more respect if he literally reported them, and then afterwards, he didn't do just the weird, vague gloating with the, like, holding all the cards bullshit thing, which he did, which was very weird and gay. But I would have more respect for them if he just put a simple post out that said, "I did that shit." And then maybe Kino gets brought back on, which I think they are restored by now. But then he can be like, then he could have been like, yeah, I did that shit, so know who the fuck I am. People would still think he's a fuck. He would still lose reputation. But it wouldn't be this weak, soft shit, dude. I'm trying to hide the fact, like trying to still maintain some kind of moral standing. Like you're morally superior. And that's the crux of a lot of this. Is him trying to maintain his moral superiority when you're not morally superior. You're just an asshole like everybody else. So come down to our level and sling mud with the rest of us, or shut the fuck up. That's really the crux of this problem here. And like I said, big streamers are picking it up too now, and it's escaping containment. And now that it's escaping containment and getting into the broader streaming world, it's going to be a problem. So, like, here you have Asmongold, right? Asmongold is fucking now reacting to the Quatering situation. Let me get this here. All right. Make sure. There's that. All right.
And yeah, what's your opinion on what's going on with the Quatering? I think that the Quatering is...
The volume's a little low, but it's about all I can do.
I think he's totally fucked up, if you want me to be honest. I think he's totally fucked up. And I think it was a massive mistake to try to deplatform Kino Casino. I can't see why he would do that. I think it was ridiculous. And yeah, he's going, bro. Well, I'm just saying in general, right? I think it's very, very odd to do something like that. And I don't really know why you would want to.
So even Asmon right now is calling him out, basically saying, this guy fucked up. You shouldn't be calling for people to be deplatformed openly and privately. And, you know, it's...
And he's spiraling.
Just
yeah,
the fact that
kind
he's
of
covering
is. I
this.
would
like
say it's something like that. And he's felt he's a cuck. He's finished. Maybe. I don't know. And isn't a coffee band called Coffee Brand Coffee? Yeah, I think it's something like that. The Quatering got really washed. Well, I think the problem is that a lot of people don't like the concept of being criticized and having people, like, you know, criticize them, obviously. And because of that, I think that what happens is that they think that they can shut somebody down doing that, but almost every single instance of somebody trying to shut down criticism, what ends up happening is it creates a larger effect that just makes more people aware of it. And I think that's the main issue. No, it's weird to go after his wife.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a Streisand effect, right? He thinks by getting these motherfuckers taken off, right, it's going to silence them. But it's not. They're going to be louder. They're going to cover this shit more. And if they don't cover it, other people are going to cover it. And he thinks that he got rid of the opposition. He's created more opposition. You think I was going to originally cover this? First off, if you're a streamer, if you're a YouTube content creator, and you're working in entertainment news, kind of cultural news, kind of, when you become the story, that's typically bad. That means something bad has happened. And I wasn't going to cover this all, but now it's a massive story. It's all over the internet. So I have to cover it. I have to talk about it, obviously. It's interesting. It's the fall of somebody who was very, very popular. And let's not get it twisted. You heard Jeremy streaming there. He has so many awkward long pauses, and here's the thing. Somebody who's been streaming as long as he is and doing this as long as he has should not be as bad as me. All right? I'm not a great streamer. I'm pretty unprofessional. You've seen, I'm not fucking prepared at all. I'm winging this shit most of the time. But he is doing the same exact thing, and yet he has 2 million subscribers, and he's years in on. And that's not me being like, oh, I should have more, but no. That's me being like, he should be better than this. He should be better than what he's at. But he's not. Why? How? And I think people are just realizing, because he's complaining that his numbers are declining, that he's ass. You're ass, bro. You're ass. It's just... I just don't understand, man. Like, you should be better than what you are now. You should, like, if you go back and look at my first few videos and, like, my attempts at streaming, so they are absolute dog shit. I'm still pretty bad at streaming. I've gotten a little bit better at videos, pretty significantly better at videos, actually, if I might say. And over the past two-ish years that I've been doing this, now into my third year, I've significantly improved, I feel. And that's with me not really cranking out a whole ton of content constantly, having to take breaks here and there. But I learned, I got better. You adapted. And he doesn't seem like he wants to get better or he really cares. This is a guy who goes on and is like, what's your guys' opinion? What's your guys' thoughts on videos for tomorrow? I post that shit on Twitter. Every time I saw that, even when he was still popular, some of the height of his popularity, I was like, why the fuck are you asking people online, what do you guys want me to make a video on tomorrow? You tell me. You're the content creator. I don't go into, I know I make a lot of food and restaurant metaphors. Maybe half of it is probably because I worked in the restaurant industry for so long. The other half of it is because I'm fat and I like food. But you don't go into a restaurant and tell them what you want them to make. The chef doesn't come up to you and be like, hey, what do you want me to make you tonight? No. The chef, even a fucking gastropub that changes their menu all the time, daily, even they are going to tell you what you're going to eat tonight. Even they are going to tell you what's on the menu. You don't tell them. They don't go to you and ask you what you want. It's his job to make a video that he thinks is interesting about a subject that he cares about and thinks there's an audience that cares about this as well. If you do that, you will typically create good content because you're passionate about the subject. I'll be honest with you. There's sometimes I've made videos about stuff that I don't care about. Those videos typically are pretty ass. They're pretty bad. And there are some videos I'll tell you right now that I have made, and after making them, I was like, I can't put that shit out. Even if I edit it, I cannot put that shit out because I did not care. I don't want to, and no amount of editing will make it better. And I just don't put it out. Sometimes you're going to have that. But to go to your audience and be like, what do you guys want me to make videos? You tell me. You're the entertainer. Comedians don't go up to you and be like, what do you want me to make a joke about? You prepare the material. Anyway, I can't believe now that larger streamers are covering it too, like this might be the end of it. He might be like, oh shit, these big guys are covering it. I must have actually stepped in shit. But even then, I feel like it's almost too late at this point. Like, it's not going to save him. I think he's permanently damaged his online career because of this. And I'm telling you right now, whether he has or not, how significantly bad he's damaged it, he's going to have to scale down. I get the sense that he's a very impulsive person whose spending is out of fucking control. The man has 2 million subscribers. He gets tens of thousands of views on his videos. He should be doing fine. If he lives within his means, he should be doing fine. But I guarantee you he's not living in his means. It's so stupid, dude. Like, just try to, you need to do better, fam. You need to do better. I don't think he's ever going to cut. And he's blocking people left and right. I'm blocked. Like, he blocked fucking Jeremy Griggs, D-Day Cobra from Geeks and Gamers. And it's funny because, like, I remember D-Day Cobra always saying, like, hey, Jeremy Hamley's a great guy. He's my friend. Like, that guy went to bat with me for me. He stuck up for me. Like, he'll stick up for you no matter what. He's really loyal. He's a great guy. And to treat him like that, like, he's definitely spiraling. He's definitely spiraling, and it's a bit sad. It's a bit fucked. I will say, and I did see this, it's wild that we live in a time period now where Brie Larson is more liked than the Quatering. Because Quatering made his career off of making videos, making fun of Brie Larson's flat ass. That was what he was hugely known for, right? During the Captain Marvel era, right? By the way, I think it's pretty clear at this point, knowing Jeremy's video content, knowing his stream content, seeing it. Quatering is a classic case of he's not good at what he does. He was just the first to do what he did. He's not good at the anti-woke, Hollywood is fucked, gaming, leftist gaming is bullshit, like content creation, right? He's not good at it, really. It's just he was one of the first to really cover it. Like one of the first big guys, like him, Critical Drinker, Nerdrotic. They were some of the first big channels that I remember hearing of from that point of view. And Quatering was like maybe the first. But he's not particularly good at it. And I think there's so much diversity, funny enough, of channels in that sort of genre that he doesn't really do enough to stand apart and prove his excellence at this point. But if Brie Larson right now fired up her YouTube channel, which she does have one, made a video basically being like, well, how the turntables have turned, I think it'd actually be generally accepted. I think people would laugh and be like, yeah, Brie made a comeback. She's pretty popular now. And I think part of the reason why Brie is such a big comeback, like success story, is that she stopped talking about politics, really, the feminist bullshit. And I think she realized that she ate a lot of humble pie from the Marvel era that she was in, where I think she had a lot of studio executives and people that brought her on that told her that she was the shit. She's going to be the new leader of the Avengers. She's going to be, the whole franchise was going to center around her. And then all the backlash came, and they realized that people didn't want her, and they pivoted off of her, and she was cast aside. And she realized very quickly, oh, maybe I'm not the shit. Maybe they lied to me and gassed me up, and now they're abandoning me. And I think she realized that fans have a lot to say. And the passion that they have makes a difference, especially to these executives. And those that don't heed it lose money. And they didn't want to lose money supporting her. So, yeah. Jack of all casuals is here. What's up, man? So what is the Roach King talking about today? Everyone, You better not be talking about me, Jack of all casuals. I'm just kidding. I know you're talking about Asmongold. Asmongold was talking about quartering. We've reached singularity when it comes to quartering, and everyone goes over the limit when the moment they hit it big. Yeah, there's a thing where, like, luckily I'm so tiny this doesn't happen. This nowhere near a problem that I'm having. But there, you reach a certain size of, how can I put this? Bill Burr had a joke that he used to tell back when he was funny and back before the exact shit he was talking about happened to him. But he used to have this joke where he said, living next to an ocean starts to do something to your fucking psyche. Living next to an ocean makes you start to think that you know things, that you're smarter, that you're a better person. And it was kind of a metaphor, I think, or it felt like a metaphor of, like, there are a lot of things in life that will do that, and money and influence is a big one. And when you're a YouTuber and you acquire this massive following, making all this money, you definitely start to think, oh, well, I have all this money, I have all this influence. My opinion matters more, and thus I matter more. But you don't. At the end of the day, you're still a fucking nobody. You want to see proof of this? Go watch the absolute cringe video of Ninja, one of the biggest streamers in the world at the time that he did this, of Ninja trying to get the New Year's Eve normie audience there for the ball drop to do the floss dance with him. All of them there, A, they did not do it. B, it was quite clear that they were like, who the fuck is this guy with his blue hair? Why the fuck should we care about you? There is a difference between being famous on the internet and being famous in real life. Neither of which I really want to be, if I gotta be real honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to be massive. 1 million subscribers sounds fucking terrible to me. You know what subscriber count matters to me? 500 and 1,000. Because those are the monetization numbers. That's all I really care about. Anything other than that is an absolute blessing. And I appreciate it. And the people that are even here right now are a blessing. The fact that anybody watches me or gives a shit about what I have to say on the internet is awesome. And humbling. But the thought of 1 million subscribers, I don't want that kind of attention. I don't want that amount of people to remember my face. Okay? Maybe a daily or weekly basis, okay? Like 10,000. 10,000 is a good number. If my absolute ceiling is 10,000, I could die happy. That would be nice. But anything over that would be a little daunting. We humbly reflect on some famous words. More money, more problems. Yeah. More money, more problems. More attention, more fame. Like, I've always said it since I was a teenager, man. Like, I want to be rich. I'd love to be rich. I don't want to be famous. I do not want to be famous. And you want to know why I'm not a VTuber? Because A, I think VTubing is kind of gay. And also because I'm not, like, talented enough with, like, computer art to do it. So I gotta make my OBS smaller. My OBS is on, but it's like blocking chat and shit. Okay. So, we talked about that. Let's make me big screen for a second. Let's expand. So I go blah 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 blah. What do we want to fucking talk about now? What do you guys want me to make a video on now, huh? We'll do this quartering style. What do you guys want to do? What do you guys want me to talk about? Oh, let's go through here. My tabs are all out of order. The fucking shit. So it's such spastic. You know what? Let's go from one scandal to another. Let's go from the one big story to the other big story. Look at this dumbass here. So, Eric Swalwell. We're going to do some American politics, okay? So if you're not into American politics, sorry. But this is what we're going to cover right now. I don't know if there's any actual audio to this video. Let's see here. That's it. It's just dramatic music. That's what it is. But Eric Swalwell, I think she's wearing panties. I think we're safe, guys. Speaking of VTubers, the never-ending drama happening in that land. Like I said, VTubing is a foreign world to me, and it's like, why can't you all just get along? Like, I don't know. It's very, I don't want to say that it's furry, but it's furry adjacent in the way that they treat each other, in the way that they behave, in the way that they interact online. And I just don't want to. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Seems weird. Seems like if I go over there, I'm gonna have to
relax your anus.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. So, on the topic though of American politics, Eric Swalwell is an absolute douche nozzle. Who, if you look at his face, you could just tell, yeah, that dude probably likes some shady shit sexually. And that's 100% right. Because apparently, and this comes from an account called Sophia Rosa. No idea. What is this? Fuck around, find out, Trump lover. Okay. General pro-Trump account 95749 states that Eric Swalwell suspends his campaign for California governor following recent sexual assault allegations and investigations. So yeah, he's done in politics. He's also, let's see here, if I have it brought up. Yeah, from his own page, Swalwell's statement on congressional resignation. So he's resigned from Congress over these allegations because the allegations are pretty staunch and pretty damning, and they do not sound great. I'm gonna play the video of this is his fucking video here. We'll listen to this at least a little bit. Eric Swalwell, man, has been honeypotted since 2010. Yeah, this is for those of you who might not know, this is Mr. Fang Fang. This is a guy that when he was working, I think the San Francisco, or was it Sacramento? I can't remember. But like the mayoral office, one of the mayoral offices in California, he was the victim of a honeypot scheme by a Chinese spy. That's right. He was a sitting U.S. congressman that was known to have a relationship with a spy, a foreign asset, an asset of a foreign country. And somehow this guy got elected to Congress. That's the thing. Like this guy is not just like a bad person. He's stupid. I can't tell you enough how tired I am of stupid criminals. Stupid people who also are doing like bad things, like if you're gonna do bad things, if you're gonna do morally questionable things, if you're gonna commit crimes, at least be smart about it. At least think it through. But look at this motherfucker in his face. He just has the most. He looks like a retarded Han Solo. That's what it is. He looks like Harrison Ford if Harrison Ford went through the car crash that Mark Hamill did. That's what Eric Swalwell looks like. But let's listen to all Swally boys. Let's listen to the Swallowers' statement here. Like I say, yeah, okay. I think the volume's right.
A lot has been said about me today through anonymous allegations, and I thought it was important that you see and hear from me directly. These allegations of sexual assault are flat false. They are absolutely false. They did not happen. They have never happened, and I will fight them with everything that I have. They also come on the eve of an election where I have been the front runner.
It's the Mr. Beast eyes. He has Mr. Beast eyes. Where he just looks like he's dead inside. He's devoid of everything. Let's see here.
Candidate for governor in California. I do not suggest to you in any way that I'm perfect or that I'm a saint. I have certainly made mistakes in judgment in my past. But those mistakes are between me and my wife. And to her, I apologize deeply for putting her.
I feel like they're also between the people accusing you of the shit that they're accusing you of. Especially if you're found guilty of it. They're definitely between you and those people too. Maybe.
In this position. I also apologize to you if in any way you have doubted your support for me. But I think you know who I am. For over 20 years, I have served the public. As a city councilman, as a member of Congress, and as a prosecutor who went to court on behalf of victims, particularly on behalf of sexual assault victims. That's who I am and have always been.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
This weekend, I'm going to spend time with my family and friends. And I appreciate those who have reached out to me to show support. And I look forward to updating you very soon.
Hiya!
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe any of that shit.
A lot has been said about me today through.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah. We're gonna listen to this one now. This is his accuser. I won't lie. This is the most believable sounding SA accuser I think I've ever heard, and it's kind of unsettling. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see if this is the right volume.
He raped me, and he choked me. And while he was choking me, I lost consciousness.
Jesus fuck.
And I thought I died. I did not consent to any sexual activity. Although I did not undergo a rape kit at the time, I disclosed the assault to the people closest to me. I also recorded these events in my handwritten calendar. The assault and its impact were later documented during my therapy sessions at a sexual assault center in Connecticut. It had a profound impact on my mental health. I self-medicated in an unhealthy way. I did not want to live anymore.
Fuck, man.
I cried all the time for years. At the time, I was in a dating relationship with a boyfriend I was fully committed to. I've never cheated in my life, and I would never have engaged in a consensual sexual encounter with Eric Swalwell.
Yeah, call me crazy, but she sounds pretty sincere. She sounds pretty believable. Now, of course, you know, all innocent until proven guilty and all that. And, you know, we can't discount anything. But that doesn't strike me as someone just making shit up. That doesn't strike me as your general Trump accuser. Yeah, that's pretty fucked. I think this guy, his political career is done, and at this point, he needs to be worried about staying out of trouble and really prison, if I'm being honest. Because we got, look at this. New York Post. Bleary-eyed Eric Swalwell wears a robe, parties with yacht girls during hush-hush St. Tropez blowout while video shows. Let's see if we bring this up here. Is this going to be like a 3-minute bullshit video to show me? Oh, fuck your ads, dude. I don't need to know that a Fortnite update is happening right now. But fuck off. Exposing my information. All right. Page 6 wants to... No, fuck off. I just wanted to see the video. Sure, we'll allow... Stop! All right. Is it here? Is it going to make me go into Instagram now? Jesus shit, dude. New York Post. What? You know what? Fuck this. Fuck this. Why do I have half-naked fat women on here? It's all gone to shit. It's all gone to shit. Pack it up. We're going to go over here. Anyway, apparently there's video of that. I'm not going to look it up. The party will protect you until it demands your head for the greater good. Yeah, it was very clear, I think, that he was not going to get any kind of support. I mean, think about it this way. Eric Swalwell is also a straight white male in the Democratic Party. I mean, this guy is at the bottom of the fucking totem pole when it comes to the grievance charts, all right? So he is not going to... He is at the back of the line of the point of privilege, all right? He's not going to get any support from them. So, yeah, he's done. Absolutely done. Politically. Like I said, he's got to worry about staying out of prison now. Now, on a more lighter subject, I have seen the Avatar, The Last Airbender leaked movie. The title of this film is Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender. Which, if you're like, that kind of sounds like Legend of Korra. Yeah. It's basically a Legend of Korra story in that sort of vein, but done with the characters from the first series. It's not great. It's not horrific, but it's not great. And I would make it I would say it's about a 5 out of 10. You know what this feels like to me? The Legend of Aang feels like one of those straight to DVD Disney like sequel films of the early 2000s. Like The Lion King 2, right? Which, by the way, Lion King 2, pretty good movie, actually. Surprisingly good movie. Better than a lot of the shit that they've put out recently from Disney. But this felt like that. Since the movie leaked, who the fuck gives a shit about spoilers? If you don't want spoilers, don't watch this part because I'm just going to talk openly about spoilers. I'm not going to openly give spoilers, but I'm going to give general plot synopsis at least. Basically, if you were wanting like an Avatar movie that explains like what the kids have been up to, like as they've gotten older, what happens between like Legend of Korra more in depth and like the kids being kids, you're not going to get any of that. This is like non-storyline DLC of a movie. Like, you know, those like sort of encapsulating like story DLCs in like a big action adventure game or something that have nothing to do with the main storyline. That's what this is kind of like. And even watching the movie, like, because I saw it at like midnight, and I was like, holy shit, I have to watch this before it's gone. So I watched it, and first off, I want to say that I would never, ever download this thing and keep it. And I would never, ever share it with anyone because that would be totally wrong. And, you know, this is totally something I, as an upstanding citizen, would never do. I just want to put that out there. But I did watch it, but I was skipping every so often, like 3 to 5 minutes ahead, just because it was midnight and I was fucking tired. And all I have to say is that even doing that, I could tell that there were plot holes and weird story elements that you were kind of just like, why is this not answered? Where is this going? Why didn't they just do this? Like that kind of stuff. It's made by the same people that as Korra. I assume that was the case. Yeah. Well, the guys who made Korra were the guys that also made Avatar. It's just, I think at this point we have to accept the fact that maybe Avatar: The Last Airbender was an aberration of those guys' creative abilities rather than the standard which we should compare the rest of their body of work to. It's not what they like. Maybe Avatar: The Last Airbender is as good as their writing gets. It's a thing we should accept. Because this movie, like, again, it's not bad. It's a 5 out of 10. It's exactly mid. It's the most mid movie you could possibly think of. Like I said, it's a straight to DVD Disney sequel movie. That's what this is. And one of the things that really struck me, though, is the art style. I kind of feel like the art style of Avatar has not aged well, particularly in action, because maybe it's because it's not fully finished yet or whatever, right? Even though it should be finished because production has ended on it. And we're going to get into that in just a second as well. It feels like the art is difficult to watch. The art is straining on the eyes to watch. The blend of like Western cartoon animation and like anime inspired animation coming together to form what we know as the Avatar art style. It's straining on the eyes, especially in this movie. I think a lot of it has to do with the dark backgrounds that they also have. So a lot of the flashes and streaks stick with you, and it's difficult to watch. The voice acting is also atrocious. And that's mostly because, as this account states right here, reminder that Nickelodeon fired all the original voice actors for being white. Pirating this movie is morally correct. They did fire all the original voice actors who came back to voice this movie, which you would think most people would actually want and like. but they fired them to bring in a diverse cast that was more representative of those nations that were represented in, or the races that were supposed to be represented in the world of the Avatar. They literally sought out a blind, like Chinese woman or Southeast Asian woman. She was a blind Asian woman, essentially. Brought her in to voice Toph. Not because having a blind Asian woman play the voice of Toph made the character any better, but simply because they wanted to be able to brag about it at parties and post about it on social media to show off how virtuous they are. Talk about the diversity of the cast and how representative the cast is. Talk about it in interviews. Literal licking their own balls in front of people. The performative artist style of doing that. That's what they wanted. That's what we sacrificed having good voice actors for. Always follow the 7 years rule. If not made within 7 years after something happened, it won't be the same. Like the new Malcolm in the Middle reboot. Dude, listen, I never watched Malcolm in the Middle, but I'm sorry to anybody who's like a fan of that, because it looks like that series just is completely just for political, cultural posturing. Which is weird because Frankie Muniz seems like a pretty level-headed dude who's not a massive, like, left-winger. Both socially and, like, politically. I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't say that that's completely right, because I do think that certain things need to go away for a long while, especially if you've had content spammed of it so people miss it, right? The George Lucas rule. Star Wars needs to go away for a little while so people miss it. Then it can come back and people will welcome it gladly. But I don't think there's certain things that, yes, especially if you make something within that time period and it bombs, or make two things within that time period and it bombs, clearly people are not picking up what you're putting down. So yeah, it's literally a 5 out of 10. It's a very, very average movie. It doesn't have anything to really do with the overall story, and like, it's okay. Like, if you know nothing about the Avatar and you know nothing about like anything to do with this world, and you just want a cartoon movie to watch, like, you might find enjoyment in this. But that's about it. Like, the characters in spirit are kept to as well. It's just they're not represented well by the voice actors. This is the video. I forgot to really address this, but like, this was the video of Eric Swalwell with the like Lady of the Night, shall we call her? Which, by the way, can we talk about, are we sure that this woman is not Ashley St. Clair? Because she looks like Ashley St. Clair. What has Ashley St. Clair been up to besides having Elon's baby? Yeah, there's a... Oh, yeah, and I forgot about the Quatering. Apparently, other channels have had their streams being taken down because Quatering, or somebody is flagging the streams, talking about the Quatering and the Kino situation. So maybe I'll get taken down. We'll see. Maybe I'm small enough that people won't really care to notice. All right. You don't need to see it. Oh, I guess it doesn't fucking matter. Small news stories. Apparently we have a new Aragorn. Jamie Dornan has been cast as Aragorn in The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. I'm going to be real honest with you. Replacing Viggo Mortensen is extremely difficult. I don't think this movie should happen. I think it's fucking dumb and a cash grab. I think this whole situation is bad and should be you just stay away from it. And I don't love this at all as a general idea. All that said, if you absolutely have to cast somebody in the role to replace Viggo Mortensen, Jamie Dornan is not the worst casting choice. I'm gonna be real honest. I thought if they made a reboot of the Highlander movie, my first thought was not that Connor McLeod should be played by Henry Cavill. I thought Jamie Dornan should play Connor McLeod. I think Jamie Dornan is Scottish as well. I know he's at least British, but I think he's Scottish specifically. So it makes sense. He has the more Connor McLeod look to him. He has sort of that stoic, he can pull off that stoic kind of masculine hero vibe. So it's one of those cases where I think he would have actually fit the role better. Now, does that mean that Henry Cavill won't bring it because he loves the IP, like he loves pretty much all IPs that he's involved in? No. I'm sure he'll do fine. I'm sure it'll be a great movie, or at least good movie. But I think he should have been Connor McLeod. And as Aragorn, he probably will do a serviceable job in a movie that nobody wants and may or may not be any level of good. And is wholly unnecessary, I think. But he might be good in the role. I'm kind of wondering why he doesn't get more roles, to be honest. Like, this guy had to spend exile because he did 50 Shades of Grey. But considering, like, you have the Magic the Gathering bullshit that trying to make Aragorn black, like, we could have ended up in some weird territories, okay? Jamie Dornan will have to break both feet to live up the Legend of Aragorn. I think it's hard to, like, there's so many things that fell into place that made Lord of the Rings like the greatest trilogy in like the history of film, which is what I think it is. Viggo Mortensen being Aragorn is one of them. And that was actually all accidental because he was originally not cast for the role because they thought he was too old, looked too old to play Aragorn because he's, Aragorn is due to die and he's supposed to look younger even though he's in his 80s and yada yada. So like, Viggo Mortensen looked like, I don't know what his age was at the time, but he looked like he was in his late 30s, early 40s. So like, he looked too old. But like, he got the role because the guy that they did cast back out of the role, which you want to talk about fuck ups of a lifetime there. And he stepped in, and that's just one of those happy little accidents that is what kind of makes everything so grand about Lord of the Rings and the making of Lord of the Rings. If you're going to watch any specials about how any movie is made, watch the specials about the making of Lord of the Rings. They are fantastic. It's really amazing to see the feats that they went through to make the movie. Fucking Sean Bean, who was terrified of flying, especially helicopters. And to film the scene on the scene on the mountains, right? That brief scene or whatever. He had to wake up at like 4 a.m. or some shit. And he had to hike in full costume up the fucking mountain while they all flew in so he could get there and not have to fly. Like, that's fucking wild. You don't see that kind of dedication anymore, but I'm straying from my original point. I think Jamie Dornan will do a good job in the role. However, I don't think the movie should exist. It's a cash grab. Speaking of movies that are probably going to be a cash grab, Aegon's Conquest movie is officially in the works at Warner Brothers. Talking about Miss Roll's Sean Connery as Gandalf. I don't know if Sean Connery physically could have done the role at the time. I don't know how old he was when those movies started. I think Ian McKellen is... pretty perfect as the role. If you're saying that he potentially wanted the role of Gandalf, I'd never heard of that. But like, could he have done the job? Probably. Probably would have done a really great job. But I think Ian McKellen did a pretty perfect job. I mean, Ian McKellen playing Gandalf is the reason why he couldn't do Dumbledore. Because they would have been too close to the same character. Which I always thought that Dumbledore should have played. It would have been fun. It would have been fun to see Christopher Lee play Dumbledore, just because he would have been playing another wizard, but you would have gotten to see another side of Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee was always known as playing villains, and you would have gotten to see, I think, a different side of Christopher Lee late on into his career. Connery passed on the role because he didn't understand. Oh, yeah. I do remember that now. He said the script made no sense. He didn't understand. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little weird to me. I mean, though again, Sean Connery was always kind of a simple man, I think. He comes from that John Wayne style of filmmaking. Because I say that purely out of the fact that they both were okay with the idea of slapping women if they acted hysterical. Like, that's really the only connection I made. But, yeah. Anyway, there's an Aegon's Conquest movie that's coming. Officially in the works at Warner Brothers. This is either going to be one of the greatest fantasy films of the modern generation, or it's going to be pure, unadulterated dog shit. And at least 50% of that is straight up going to be the cast. Who they're going to cast. Aegon, especially within fantasy nerd terms, is going to be one of the most judged castings, I think, of maybe the past 10 years. Very, very heavily scrutinized. It's a big... I mean, this is the founding of Westeros. Modern Westeros, right? The conquest of Aegon. Who you get to play this sort of larger-than-life Herculean character is gonna matter a lot. To put it bluntly, you cannot get a Timothée Chalamet to play this role. You simply cannot. You have to go out. You have to get a big, chisel-jawed British dude. You have to get a young Henry Cavill. And everybody wanted Henry Cavill to play Aegon years ago. And some people still want him to do now. He's too old. I'm sorry. And I'm sick and tired of this, like, let's cast old dudes in young dude roles. No, go out and find some new fucking actors. You know what? Cast an unknown, chisel-jawed, beefy motherfucker who can act as Aegon. It doesn't have to be a name. You know, there was this wild time when we used to cast unknown actors in movies. And some of those movies would be some of the most massive hits in history. Star Wars. Almost completely unknown actors. At least in the starring roles. Mark Hamill, unknown. Harrison Ford, he was in American Graffiti, I think. It was the biggest thing he was known for, I think, up until then. Of course, he had Raiders of the Lost Ark that came out later, after Star Wars, I think. And Carrie Fisher. I mean, yes, Carrie Fisher's legacy. Mom was Debbie Reynolds, but like, she wasn't a known actress. So like, yeah, go out and cast unknown actor in the role. Get unknown actors for his wives too, his sister wives. Like, you don't need to get big names for this. Announcer voice. The Rock as Aegon coming next fall. Dude, Dwayne Johnson can't even pull off a wig that matches the hair of his native people. You think he's going to be able to pull off a silver-haired wig? They're going to cast The Rock as Aegon, aren't they? They're going to do it. Well, I'm excited. It also depends on how involved George R. R. Martin is. Because as much as we want to bitch and moan about Winds of Winter not being completed and the ending of Game of Thrones, I think that the dumb fuck that is George R. R. Martin learned his lesson at the end of Game of Thrones and is like, oh, maybe I shouldn't belittle the audience with my shitty ending. And I think that the more involved now that he is with projects, the more likely they are to succeed. And I think if he's heavily involved in this movie, it's going to succeed. And my guess is that he'll want to be heavily involved in this movie because he won't want to be writing his books. So, yeah, it would be something else he could blame to occupy his time, right? Which, I've always said this. I have a feeling that George has his book actually written. I think he has the series written and it's ready to publish and be put out. I think that George is waiting. He has it put into his will or whatever that upon his death, those books are going to be published. And I think he's doing that because he wants to be dead when they're published, because that way nobody can complain to him to fix it. Nobody can come to him and complain about the ending of the story because he'll be gone. I think that's something he would do. Old Georgie is already fed up with Warner Brothers and House of the Dragon since they keep changing his product. Yes, but also he really, really likes A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. He was heavily involved with the making of Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So, depending on who is doing this movie, he might be heavily involved in it as well. So, if that's the case, it has a better potential to be good. But as of right now, honestly, I'm okay forgetting that Game of Thrones ever happened. I think this is going to be a hot take, but I think Game of Thrones is one of the best and worst things to happen to modern television. It's one of the best things because for the first 4 seasons, maybe 5, it's an excellent made TV show. Excellent made medieval warfare political drama. Not a very great fantasy show. I also think that it's one of the worst things to happen to modern television. Because just like Guardians of the Galaxy tricked the MCU and tricked Disney into thinking that every MCU project could be the Guardians of the Galaxy, and you just repeat that wacky, zany formula over and over again. A lot of these period pieces and fantasy shows and all that thought that, well, if we just repeat Game of Thrones, even fucking House of Cards, right? Something that's just purely a political drama. If we just give the people political drama, make it all about backstabbing, make it all about twists and turns, make it all no characters are ever safe, make it, completely such high stakes that there's almost no stakes, that you can't get attached to anyone because they're probably going to be gone tomorrow. I think that's one of the worst things to happen to television, because people copying that formula, that's all we've gotten so far. And it's killed heroic storytelling. It's killed the classic heroic storytelling, not just in television, but also movies. The dismantling of a hero, right, isn't just in the movies. It's also because of television shows that do it with medieval fantasy, right? High medieval fantasy. Like in Game of Thrones. So yeah. I'm good at pretending all of Game of Thrones didn't happen. And the only thing that really exists is Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Because it's the only story that feels worth watching. It's the only story that makes you feel good at some point in the show. Never saw Game of Thrones. I'm glad I was spared from that. Listen, jack of all casuals. There's a few things in life. A few things in television life. That you need to know. Modern television life. That is, one of those big things is knowing when to stop. Game of Thrones is good up until about season 4 or 5. If you want to know how the conclusion is, trust me, you don't. It doesn't end the way that it should. Make the ending up in your own headcanon. It's better. The second thing is Peaky Blinders. Stop at the end of season 4. I've seen season 5. Wasn't great. Season 6, I never even saw because I was afraid they didn't stick the landing. And the Immoral Man movie, I haven't heard great things about. Very mixed bag. So if you stop at season 4, that's a good place to stop. Finally, Lost. Once you get to, for the first 3 seasons, 4 seasons, Lost does flashbacks, and then they start doing flash forwards. When you get to the flash forwards, stop watching. Because it just goes downhill from there. Knowing when to stop. You don't have to see a series all the way through just because you started. Trust me, you'll be better off for it. Let's see here. Oh, saw this. From Culture Crave, Marvel Studios was reportedly hit hard in the Disney layoffs today. Nearly the entire visual development team was let go, many there for over a decade. Only a skeleton crew remains in place to coordinate hiring on a per-project basis. Disney overall is laying off 1,000+ employees, and it sounds like their digital art people, visual development team, it sounds like they're now contract workers. They're going to be hired from project to project. The gig economy, y'all. I already saw all Peaky Blinders. I was too invested to stop. That's fair. Yeah, I like I said, I watched up until season 5, and season 5 wasn't bad. I still think it was better than season 3, which was the Russians. I think season 3 is probably the worst season of Peaky Blinders that I've seen. But I didn't watch season 6, and I didn't watch the movie. Mostly because like it's hard for them to wrap up all the stories because of all the personal things that happen to all the actors in that show. Because like the actor who played John left the show because he said that it felt like it was Killian's show and he was just a side character and he wanted to be his own star. So he went out to go star in his own things. The actor who played Arthur has a hardcore like drug problem. So like, yeah, there's a little bit too much method acting going on there for him. And the actress that played his aunt just straight up died. So like, it's hard to tie all those loose ends when you have that many moving parts. Unfortunately, because I think Stephen Knight did a masterful job writing that show. And the first 4 seasons are like perfect television. Like they're masterful. But yeah, as for this, this is not good. And I think more Disney layoffs are going to come because there are 2 movies that are slated to come out. You got Mandalorian and Grogu, which is predicted to have a domestic opening of $71 million. Lower than Solo, a Star Wars story. That's fucking bad. Solo didn't break 400 million. And that was like when Star Wars still had clout to it, right? Because Solo was released between Last Jedi and Rise of Palpatine. And that's what I'm going to call it. Nobody can change my opinion. Because that's how, lineage works. But Solo was released between those 2 films and it did so little. And this is tracking to do less than that when less people care about Star Wars, because Star Wars has essentially become a streaming service show property IP. It's no longer thought of really as a movie IP, which is really, really fucked and sad if you think about it. How far that has fallen. That we think of Star Wars more now as TV than movies. Star Wars used to be a fucking event. It was an event. Now it's this thing you don't want to talk about. And not only does Disney have that, which is going to be a massive flop, they also have Doomsday, which is going to struggle to break even purely out of the fact that the budget with marketing and the initial actual production budget is $700 million. $700 million.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
How are you going to make... That means, because theaters got to get their cut too, right? That if we're conservative, right? And that theaters are going to take $300 million off the top, right? That means that this film has to do $1 billion to break even. In an era where desire for superhero movies is on a steep decline, the Marvel brand is tarnished after flop, There's not a real belief in Marvel that they can produce good movies. DC has also done horrific and tarnished the idea of superhero movies. And all signs point to this film making probably less than $1 billion. It's relying on the idea of making over $1 billion to make any sort of profit. Now, maybe a lot of people turn out. Maybe a lot of people turn out because they want to see the epic conclusion, right? They want to see the conclusion to the MCU, because this is essentially going to be the big send-off for the MCU. It's Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom kills off the MCU is what it's going to be. And which is weird because you would think that Endgame that we saw was the end of the MCU, but apparently not. And maybe a lot of people come out for that, but I don't think that's going to happen. I honestly don't think that's going to happen. I think this film tops out at 900 million, maybe even as low as like 850-ish, but I think in the 9 to 950-ish range, and it just gets under its budget. So it has a net loss, but it's not by much. And they'll try to claim that it breaks even. They'll try to spin the numbers in some way to make it look positive. It's not. And you're going to see more layoffs like this because of that. They need $2 billion to make a profit. That ain't happening like Endgame. Phase 4 and 5 was so bad, they're hitting the reboot button. I mean, yeah, they have to. They wanted to. In a similar way, this is kind of a weird comparison here. My shoulder itches. In a similar way, I think console companies and gaming, they thought they were going to have more time, right? Before being forced to get out of the console business and start making branded gaming PCs. But AI and strain and cost of parts has accelerated that to where now Xbox has essentially admitted that they're making a gaming PC as their next console, and PlayStation is going to try to squeeze out one last console generation out of the Sony ponies before they make a gaming PC themselves. That's where they're going as well. And I think in a similar way, Marvel thought they could squeeze out one more like trilogy of phases that lead up to something big before they do a total reboot. And the total reboot would not happen under Kevin Feige. It would have happened under his successor, probably James Gunn. And that's probably who is going to be his successor now. But it turns out that was not going to happen because Phase 4 and 5 were so bad that they realized they had to accelerate the process. They needed to press the reboot button now because they need to bring back characters that people care about because they're finally learning the lesson. This is one of the other things that I've always said is one of the worst things and best things to happen for movies, which is the Guardians of the Galaxy effect on the MCU and just general Hollywood. Because when the Guardians of the Galaxy came out, it gave Disney this, the bad part of it is that it gave Disney this idea that they could make every character within Marvel a household name and strike lightning in a bottle with all those characters, and you simply cannot do that. Nobody gives a fuck about an Agatha Harkness show. I'm sorry. Nobody cares. You just can't make it a thing. And they thought they could based upon the effect that Guardians of the Galaxy had. Not understanding that it was a one-off. This is the problem. You see this across so many different businesses. They see one thing that's super, super popular and they think immediately that's a trend. We can pick up on that. We can do that for infinity. And no, You can't copy that formula and just repeat over and over again. Sometimes you can only do it once or a couple times, and then you have to move on. But yeah, you're going to see more of these layoffs because I just don't see a way that Marvel gets out of the hole. They literally killed the golden geese. Of course, their movies would flop. Yeah, they got to get back to the characters they know are popular, because now they've realized that Guardians of the Galaxy making every character a household name formula does not work, and they've established now what characters they think are the core characters that are important, and we need to get back to those. So you're going to see a reboot of all the main OG like Avengers cast. And even then, so basically in the 2030s into the 2040s, you're going to see a reboot of every character that may or may not be good. And I'm going to tell you right now, their budgets over the course of that time are going to be less and less. And you're going to see a lot more projects canceled than created and gone through, because the industry will have moved on, and the industry right now is moving on to video game adaptations. Which, speaking of that, let's see if we can go down here. This wasn't really on the docket to talk to you about today, but came out a while ago. Metal Gear Solid movie is in the works. The guys who did Final Destination Bloodlines are set to direct. But whatever the fuck that means. I don't know. I didn't see the movie. I don't know if it's good or bad. It's a horror movie, so yeah. Meanwhile, by the way, I also heard that they're rebooting like Escape from New York or Escape from LA, whatever the fuck first one wherever the fuck the first one was. And that character is what Solid Snake is based off of. So yeah, I don't know if this will be good or not. Metal Gear is basically a movie anyway, because it's made by Kojima. And Kojima is a game developer that actually doesn't want to make video games. He wants to make movies. But for some reason, he won't leave. And just keeps making movie video games. So, I don't know. What else do we want to talk about here? Yeah, I made a short on that, but I don't think it's worth talking about right here. That might be. Oh yeah, Melanie Mack made a video addressing the Quatering drama, where she didn't really address the Quatering drama. She just stuck by them. We can talk about this for a second. Kojima is a film director disguised as a game developer. That's pretty much it, yeah. All right. I think this will be the last story, and then we'll get into the doom scroll. So, let's see here. From Variety, Pedro Pascal and Florence Pugh are the latest actors to condemn Paramount buying Warner Brothers in an open letter that is now signed by more than 2,000 Hollywood names. We are deeply concerned by the indications of support for this merger that prioritize the interests of a small group of powerful stakeholders over the broader public good. Does it? I don't know about that. The integrity, independence, but by public good, do you mean you're good? Do you mean the people you agree with politically good? I don't know. The integrity, independence, and diversity of our industry would be grievously compromised. Read the letter. Competition is essential for a healthy economy and a healthy democracy. Ah, yes, the democracy. It's all about democracy. You work in a... I know this might be shocking to you, but Hollywood is a business. Businesses are a hierarchical structure. Top down. You get orders. You get told to do things by essentially a dictator at your job, your manager. For the actor, it's the director, right? So, it's not a democracy. Unless you're talking about political democracy, which I don't really understand how the fuck that has to do with this, other than the fact that you're trying to say, oh, well, this deal is only happening because Orange Man bad. I don't think so. Like, maybe he likes this deal is happening and Ellison is his friend, or at least cool with him. But from all the points that have been said, Ellison is actually a moderate. So I don't really know what the fuck. I had to sneeze, sorry. I don't really know what the fuck you're talking about. Where does it say? Okay, so is it thoughtful regulation and enforcement? Media consolidation has already weakened one of America's most vital global industries, one that long shaped culture and connected people around the world. Media consolidation. So they're talking about corporations merging here, buying up all the studios, making them into one conglomerate. Maybe if you could afford to pay your bills as a company, you wouldn't have to become part of a conglomerate. And that's based on bad ideas you've put out. You make better movies, make more money, get to stay independent. That's how this shit works. But really what I wanted to talk about here is the 2,000 signatures, right? And it includes all types of directors, actors, all the bullshit people in the industry. And all I want to say is that all this doesn't matter for shit. Okay? How about Pedro talk about his father and why they had to flee their native country? Yeah, Pedro's whole family and like he's just a shady guy. Like I don't know if he's gay, but he definitely seems gay, and like definitely there's been situations where he's been out with men and it's been questionable, right? I'm pretty sure he is gay. But like if he's not gay, he's definitely that kind of guy that like pretends to be gay just to like fuck girls. Otherwise known as one of the slimiest kinds of dudes you can be. And there's a whole lot of ifs there. But I'm just saying, if that's how it is, he's a real piece of shit. I don't know. But if so, piece of shit. Anyway, so 2,000 Hollywood names. And as I was saying, none of it fucking counts for anything. You know why? Because they don't listen to the fucking actors when it comes to business. This is one thing that's always been true of Hollywood. It's still true to this day. They can go and cry their platitudes on their fucking award shows, whatever. The business, at the end of the day, is still the business. Okay? And no matter how powerful you are, petitions with thousands of signatures on them doesn't count for shit. Doesn't get shit accomplished. Go ask fucking Grums about that. Grums with his, we're going to collect all these signatures and then we're going to, to free Stellar Blade. And then we're going to turn them in to the head of the company there in Korea, and, you know, they're going to be forced to read and acknowledge this. Okay, well, are they first forced to do anything? No. Then what the fuck is the point? Petitions don't do anything. I created a petition as a joke to make Microsoft make a Rise 2 Son of Rome. It's not going to happen. Even if it had thousands of signatures, it's not going to happen. You know why? Because it's been years and years since the first game, and the first game didn't really make a lot of money. So yeah, petitions don't count for shit. They can petition as much as they want. All they're really doing is making themselves look like idiots. At least it's not like the strikes, though, which actually actively hurt the industry and themselves. It's all just LARPing. It's all just LARPing and adult pretending like they are their forefathers that actually had to struggle for something, that they are connected to their past in some way by continuing the struggle that their parents did, or that actors that they knew did, people that inspired them that did. The problem is that their struggles aren't actual fucking struggles. They're imaginary. They're struggles only for soft people. This is the problem, is that so many people, not just in Hollywood, but so many people on a cultural level lack identity and lack purpose. That they seek identity and purpose in places that in the past you wouldn't, or was unnecessary to do so. Value systems have changed so drastically within this country due to ease of work, ease of life. Literally suffering from our success. That people's psyche has changed as to how they behave, how they interact, how they identify, who they want to be. They've lost sense of purpose. A lot of these people have lost sense of purpose because they're not focused on creating a family, or being involved in their community, or being involved in their religion, or having pride in their work, and their work literally just being, you work at the fucking factory and you could be successful and have a good life. No, now everybody wants to be fucking famous. Everybody wants to make millions upon millions of dollars being a fucking streamer. Which, yes, I know is ironic because I'm here doing this. But it's because I'm actually passionate about it. And yes, I want to make those millions of dollars. I'm never going to, though. But, it's the thought that counts, right? I have an actual job that I work to. But everybody wants to. They want to be something more. It's just that something more is different now than what it used to be. And it's less productive. It makes society... It's not something that makes society better. Anyway, maybe this is just the philosophical ramblings of a retard. But we're saying them. Oh, let's go here. Let's start the doom scroll. So we're gonna start the doom scroll now. Eventually, gotta get like a scene or a music or whatever to start this. Have some grand entrance in. Always improving. We're always improving. All right. Neurotic says, Daredevil bored again, summed up in one image. Yeah, I see people talking about Daredevil show, the new season of Daredevil. Honestly, didn't realize that season 2 of Daredevil was coming out until it literally came out. And I gotta be honest with you, I don't give a shit. Daredevil was never a massive superhero to me. I never saw the original Daredevil show on Netflix. I heard it's very, very good. That's awesome. Never been a massive hero for me to be interested in. And like, I don't want to, like, it's all gone downhill anyway. So why would I be invested? Yeah. What is this replying to? I've seen the first 7 minutes of Dune Part 3. All right, cool, Chris Gore. Well, I've seen the whole Avatar movie. So there. Ha! The BDSM. Yeah. Jamie Doran. I think he's going to do a good job, though. The movie is dumb and unnecessary, but he's going to do a job. Nah, because why the fuck did the Daredevil show go back to the old cinematography, acting, and writing for a split second? All this does is prove they could make a good show if they wanted to. I don't know. Our stream is over on New Black Street. Just got taken down for harassment and cyberbullying. The timestamp provided was our intro, where it's a joke we made during a stream about ourselves, and there's no bullying or harassment presented. Nothing indicated falls under this claim for community guidelines strike. But we were talking about the quartering on this stream as well as later on, so who fucking knows? At Team YouTube, you guys have got to get your AI under control. The shit's happening is getting ridiculous. So Kada now, the guys on New Black Street, they got struck. They got struck for talking about quartering. Maybe I will get struck for talking about quartering. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like I tried to be respectful in my coverage of it, but I don't know, maybe I called him too many names. He'll get butthurt. I'm blocked by him, as well as a lot of people are blocked by him now. The Legend of Aang artists on the movie leaking. We worked on the Aang movie for years with the expectation that we get to. Let me pull up the soy voice here for you. We worked on the Aang movie for years with expectations that we'd get to celebrate all our hard work in theaters, just to see people unceremoniously leak the film and pass our shots around on Twitter like candy.
Why are you gay?
You were paid. You were paid for the work that you did. What does this person also say here? First off, like cartoon anime profile pic. You know you're about to hear the shittiest take from somebody when they have a profile pic like this. It's like this and Clippy. The Clippy as like a profile pic. Like if you have a Clippy as your profile pic, you're probably like more likely than not, some of the worst people that I've seen on any platform have a Clippy as their profile pic. They say some of the most wild shit. Anyway, we worked on the Aang movie. I read that one. I don't like seeing people use Paramount's awful decision to remove the movie from theaters to justify it leaking. I totally understand folks not wanting to pay for support for Paramount Plus. That was one of the reasons they gave, is that hackers leaked the movie because they wanted to stick it to Paramount as a corporation, because they wanted they wanted to move the movie from theaters to streaming, right? But by pirating the movie after its release would have at least been better than this. This is incredibly disrespectful to all the hard work. Let me tell you this. You were paid. You were paid to do a job. You made the fucking art. You created it. Why the fuck do you care how it's disseminated? You think Banksy gave a shit about where his art was? The man put his fucking art on the street, on fucking walls. He didn't put it on canvas and have it hung in the fucking Louvre, all right? Didn't go through the normal channels of arts. He made street art, okay? Didn't care how it was disseminated. You did. First off, I don't like this idea of we made art. Or we make art. We make art. No, what you make is a product. Products are meant to be consumed. You made a product. To me, art is something that really can't, it can be traded and sold, and people have definitely created a commodity community that does that. But art is something that is observed and felt, right? That goes beyond just any monetary value. So while it may be art, it is also a product. Video games are like this as well. That's why I was always against the fucking Casey Hudson, I think it was. It came out when people were criticizing the end of Mass Effect 3 and the end of the series. And he came out and was like, well, this is our art and how we wrote it, and we're sticking by it. Yeah, it's your art, but it's also a product. And people who spent money on a product get to criticize the product if they don't like the product. Your art that you made is part of a product. And guess what? You were paid for your part in creating that product. What happens to that product beyond you doesn't fucking matter, does it? Because it's the company, the business that's going to profit off of that. And they're going to profit off of that. And if they don't because it gets leaked everywhere, well, you know what? You know what's interesting? Because it got leaked everywhere, more people are probably seeing it. And more people are probably seeing what you do, and it's becoming more of a cultural phenomenon and more talked about. So it's actually better exposure for you.
Expose, 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 expose,
Exposure.
expose, expose, expose.
It's better for you. So why are we complaining? Anyway. So dumb, man. That's Asmongold. Extra zero. This motherfucker. God of War spin-off game info. Faye as main character may include Tyr as other protagonists. Kratos makes appearance, multiple mythologies, Norse, Mayan, East Asian lore, blah, blah, blah. Possibly revealed this month. I don't know. I just feel like nobody's going to want this. For multiple reasons. I think you can guess why. The Oceans prequel will release in 2027 in theaters. Follows the parents of Danny Ocean at the 1962 Monaco Grand Prix. I assume starring Bradley Cooper and Margot Robbie, I guess, because it's they're on the fucking post. Why are we squeezing more content out of the Oceans franchise? Like, of all the franchises, I think should have been one and done. Like, it should be Oceans, right? Oceans 11. And I get that you made Oceans 12 and Oceans 13 just because, like, trilogy maxing was all the thing in the early 2000s. But beyond that, I don't understand why beyond that. 130 million people do a road trip every year. 50,000. Okay, that's a fucking ad. Hot fucking take. Forcing birth just to dump a baby into adoption is a way more unethical than having a you know what. Hot take. Take responsibility.
Expose, expose, expose.
Quarter black Garrett coming after him.
Expose, expose.
What a guy. What a guy.
Damn.
New video on the Quatering and Kino Casino feud and how potential false flagging can lead to lawsuit. Legal Mindset put this out. How long is it? 8 minutes.
Jeremy Hambly of the Quatering may have put himself in legal hot water in his fight with the Kino Casino boys and his apparent flagging campaign. We're going to get into today on the Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney. This is a Fast Facts video, the quick and dirty version of the latest in legal news. So looking at how the...
It's wild how good at content creation Andrew Esquire, despite the fact where I paused it, Andrew Esquire is, while also being like a YouTuber and streamer. Like, it's fucking...
Quatering has legally trapped himself. So, of course, we have in this corner, as the defendant...
Classic meme format there.
Here today, Jeremy Hambly of the Quatering, who's ran a very large YouTube for a long time. Many people know him for his commentary on social issues, politics, and other game.
Obvious cut. I'm doing the thing now. When you do content creation for a little while, you start to pick up on you start to see where the obvious cuts are. You start to see where poor editing came into play, and I don't know, it's weird. It's one of those things where military experts watch military films and it's gritting for them because they can see all the bad details
issues, but he stepped in it in a fight with the Kino Casino boys. That is Ashton, or PPP, and a very good photo of him right there, and of course Andy Worski. Now these guys are well known on the internet for poking fun at people, for kind of making light of their drama and other issues. One of the big instances they'll try to bait people in was with iDubbbz, who got baited into a battle between him and the Kino Casino boys, which just ends up propelling.
I mean, if anybody deserves to be roasted, it's iDubbbz. This guy is just, we got mouseception here. We got 3 different mouses here.
Them even more, as the internet does when you engage with it. It goes crazy and goes viral. Well, the latest thing to go viral with the Kino Casino boys is with the Quatering. So the Kino Casino boys, Ashton...
I like this smooth jazz. I hope it doesn't get me hit.
And Andy Worski mocked Jeremy Hambly for being let's call it a corner chair sitter. You guys know what that implies. And calling into question his relationships, including with friends and other people that may have had an impact on his personal life. We'll leave it at that. And also calling in question some of his other interactions with women and his interaction with other people that are really questionable.
You wanted to get
Jeremy
Brittany
Hambly
Venti
didn't
pregnant.
like that. He not only responded to that, trying to debunk these things, but he eventually got so mad in this battle with the Kino Casino boys that he openly threatened their social media. He came out and said, I can take him down, I can take him out. Well, shortly after the evidence here, and we see the public evidence, which was posted.
We kind of know all this.
There's very clear language threatening. I mean, this is an unambiguous threat, and he's even saying how he's going to do it. His preferred method with his contacts and connections is to pick up the phone and to call. And you can see here he kind of reinforces this when there's a question saying, an assumption I see being made is that you, the Quatering, have God mode reporting powers on YouTube. Is that true? He confirms that.
Andrew Esquire, I remember when I, at the beginning of this stream, when I said, as a content creator, you never want to be the subject of content creation. That typically means something has gone bad. Well, there was the one time that I kind of got Rekieta to admit that he was using the cocaina during his legal battles at the time when all that shit went down on Twitter X, and LawTube, including Andrew, picked that up, and it blew up, and I ended up on my little statement, and his response ended up on streams and videos and all that, and it was a weird time.
And says, yes, all I have to do is press a button and poof.
So shout out to Space
I also
Fan
shouldn't
here.
even have to report the channels either, apparently. So once again, he's confirming his...
He's clearly joking. Quatering is clearly joking there, or trying to come off sarcastic like he's joking. But I mean, like, he probably has contacts.
ability. He's saying, I have this power to do this thing, and with all situations
in the
implied,
court of
once
law,
the
that's
channel's
going to sound
down,
like
it can only be assumed
they're not going to understand that
was
it's
him. That's a very safe
sarcasm.
assumption based on that timing. It's not something where these channels would magically disappear where they've been up for quite a
courts have a very stringent opinions of sarcasm.
while amidst this conflict and amidst these threats. And you can even see that other channels, and this is a smaller channel, Alyssa Clips, are having their channels and their videos hit as well when they clip things, when they post them on
she was
YouTube.
also taken
they're
down.
coming down and getting hit by mysterious reporting. So what do we see here? Well, we see the Quatering denying this and saying if the Kino Casino was wrongly banned for ban evasion, I 100% think they should be restored.
Oh yeah, this was when he was trying to be like, "Oh no, guys, you see, I had nothing to do with it. Obviously, I mean, I think they should be restored. This had nothing to do. You know, obviously, this kind of shit makes me think you're more guilty because you're saying it open. You're trying to be like, nah, guys, it's okay. I support them. No, sarcasm over text is hard to read, understand. Yeah. I mean, I think it was pretty clear that he was being sarcastic there. But again, in a courtroom, things are going to be read, and the court doesn't really interpret sarcasm ever. They take what you typically say as if you mean that shit. And if you try to explain you're sarcastic, you get questions like, do you think it's funny? Do you think it's a joke that somebody is implying that you have the power to simply get rid of people? You think that's funny? And then it makes you look like an asshole. And that emotionally manipulates juries. I don't know. I don't think this is going to go to a jury or anything, though. But it emotionally manipulates courts to think that you're an asshole. And court is, even though I just kind of said that it's all about facts there, it's not actually all about facts. It's about people's opinion of you as well. Because people's opinions of you affect whether or not they think you may have committed the crime. Sorry, that's just part of reality. If people have a low opinion of you as a person, they're more likely to believe you probably committed the crime. And there's a lot of factors that go into that. Being sarcastic about a very serious issue, what a lot of people seem to think is a serious issue, will make you look like an asshole.
So he's saying, oh, if they were wrongly, so, it's kind of hiding his belief that it was justified. I hate their guts, but I think it's a mistake. YouTube should fix it. I already proved beyond a doubt I didn't do it, whether they wanted to believe it or not. Now, that doubt is coming into question now. First of all, we have his previous statements, but then we have more evidence coming out that it may indeed have been him.
Yeah, I wouldn't say beyond a doubt.
This was revealed by the
what
Kiwi
we
Farms,
said. Yeah.
which watched one of his clips where he had clicked his search bar, and when you look at that search bar carefully, you see these YouTube support tickets, right? You see several YouTube support tickets. Thank you for your report to YouTube, and a YouTube support ticket there, which came out right after this happened. So the timing of those reports, very, very, very suspicious. Now, of course, Quatering came back trying to counter this, kind of in full scramble mode, saying nobody is interested in the truth, so I don't know why I bother, but these psychos will just move the goalpost again. But again,
they're not moving the goalpost. They caught you in shit again. That's not moving in goalposts. Moving the goalposts is if you say something and then they change it, and then you counter it, and then they change it again. This is not moving the goalposts. This is you said something to counter claims that made against you. More evidence came out proving those claims or casting suspicion on you. And now you're saying nobody's interested, nobody's interested in the truth. They're moving the goalpost. That's not moving the goalposts. That's new evidence came out that points to the fact you did the shit. You did that shit. It's such stupid.
Why are you gay?
Why? It's such stupid behavior, man.
My updated report history. Dozens of channels stating as a fact I took down their channel.
Imagine being in a place. Imagine being in a place in your life, in your career as an internet personality. We'll call Jeremy Ambley that. An internet personality, a commenter, where you have to show screenshots of your updated report history to try to prove you did not literally try to get somebody's channel kiboshed, destroyed, because you didn't like what they were saying about you and your family. Imagine being in that situation. Like, at some point you have to stop and you ask the question, how did we get here? Like, how did I get here? If you're Jeremy, like, how did I get here? What could I have done to avoid all this? The answer is clear, by the way. Not be a fucking dumbass. Because being a dumbass, talking about other people's numbers, talking about other people's content, showing, interacting with adult content on your main social media like tabs and browser got you noticed and made fun of because it showed that you were a hypocrite. And people love making fun of hypocrites. And instead of just owning it or leaning into it, laughing at it, making fun of it, eventually you got butthurt. Because as Andrew calls it here, the bedroom chair sitter stuff, that was all rumors. That was all hearsay, essentially. Nobody would have thought that was true or believed all that shit wholeheartedly, at least as they do now, if you hadn't gone into getting mad about this shit. The louder you scream and you bark at the accusations, the more people are going to think it's true. Methinks thou protest too much.
Which I understand should be back up soon. So he's trying to say, hey, look, here's my report history. Of course, we cannot know whether that's his actual full report history. And also, and I think the bigger thing is that he asserted that he did this perhaps by phone call and by use of a back channel connection. And this is bolstered by Yellow Flash, who actually reached out to somebody with connections.
Because if he reported them via an actual connection at YouTube, he's not going to have it in his report history because he just fucking made a call
to YouTube. And this is what they had to say. The YouTube individual. They said, just for your own peace of mind, I pinged one of our guys last night.
Though, to be fair, Yellow Flash here says that this is somebody that he has contact with in YouTube. How do we know that is Yellow Flash actually has contact with? We don't. And if we're going to treat Jeremy's bullshit as potentially manipulated hearsay, we got to treat this as also manipulated hearsay. And just if this is true, it's pretty damning. But also, we have no idea who this person Flash is showing the text of is, besides just the trust of who Flash says it is.
About the Quatering drama. His estimation based on the back end is that the casino was taken down from a personal request because all the user reports were deemed nonsense by the automated system all week, except a privacy claim that also failed to hold up to manual review. He's on the security side, but did say this is almost certainly an off-platform point of contact call, email, text that resulted in manual channel deletion. So once again, going back to that original theory that there was.
So if that statement is true, that's basically a person at YouTube saying that, yeah, it looks like somebody used a personal contact at YouTube to get this channel taken down. And if that's true, that means that it's pretty much a smoking gun. Because there's too many lines being drawn, too many dots being connected of evidence to point to Jeremy.
A call here to get these channels taken down. And so that's where we get into our argument for legal liability, civil liability, and that is tortious interference. And that's the most clear case here. Now, tortious interference requires 4 things. Existing of an economic relationship. Well, Kino Casino and the others that were taken down, Andy Worski's personal channel, Alyssa Clips, etc., are all monetized channels. They were profiting off of that. And that's something that we know is valid and existed.
One of the reasons why they're probably not going to come after me talking about all this, try to take down my stream or channel or something, is because A, I'm way too tiny. B, I'm not fully monetized. I have the 500 subscriber monetization, but not the 1,000 subscriber monetization. And so I don't really make any kind of money off of that, besides any kind of super chats, gifted memberships, or whatever, if anybody ever wants to send them in. So there's not a real economic relationship that they can hurt on me.
We also know that Jeremy Hambley knew about this relationship. He knew they were monetized. In fact, he commented that they were making $10,000 a month or something to that degree on their YouTube content and threatened to have that taken away, that revenue taken away.
He doesn't know those numbers.
Is there an intentional act to disrupt or intervene? Well, that's where getting the contact, making the call, that's intentional. He did that with the intent of taking those down. So that's an intentional act. Now, improper means and improper motive, that's all about false flagging and false reports. That's where the false reports come in. What exactly did Jeremy Hambley say to his contact or connection to have them taken down? Did he just say, I don't like these guys, take them down, boys, or whatever else? Now, we don't know that yet, but that's certainly something that...
Well, if those texts that we got to Kiwi Farms are true, then I guess it's not directly to the YouTube rep, but it definitely points direct connection to him, the reasons why he wants the channel to take him down.
That would come out in discovery. All of those calls, emails, text messages, DMs, whatever else that Hambley may or may not have sent to YouTube support or his connection could be discoverable. So here's my judgment. My judgment is that Quatering has put himself in a position through all of his behavior for very real tortious interference lawsuit. It's very possible that they could file this lawsuit.
I kind of feel like it would be, unless they're, listen, lawsuits are not typically easy to win. Typically they settle out of court as well. And I feel like this would be not a super hard one to prove, but not the easiest to kind of prove. So
now, I'm not saying they would necessarily win. I'm not saying in the end this might be a muddled situation, but they could file that lawsuit in YouTube's home of California or in Jeremy Hambley's home of Wisconsin, in those states. And by filing those lawsuits, they would get discovery, they would get calls and emails. And Jeremy Hambley is no stranger to lawsuits. He's sued people before, but as a plaintiff. It's much different being on the defendant's side and seeing what that would expose and what that would bring to light. Of course,
I would sue in Wisconsin, not California, mostly because I feel like Wisconsin probably has better free speech laws than California.
I'm no fan of false flagging, and I'm certainly a fan of keeping information up if it's proper.
I don't know why his click noise scared me so much, but it did.
Or if it's not violating the TOS,
it was the echo.
I think that's a right thing to do.
Okay. That was a good video. So yeah. I mean, Furtanga, fucking Furtanga. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he's in it, man. He's in it. He's really stepped in it. From TMZ, Clavicular suffers suspected overdose, hospitalized. Oh, well. Hope he's okay. Even the douchebags of this world shouldn't suffer. Needs to get taken care of if he's got a drug problem. If only we'd seen this coming. Hollywood's job market is collapsing. Yeah, because you keep striking jobs out of existence. They cut jobs because you keep raising wages, and popularity of your shows and movies are going down. So you're making less money. Like, it's simple economics, man. The fact that the commies in California cannot figure out simple economics is oh my God.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
What the hell is even that? Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
That's so fucked. That right to bear memes. That's fucked, bro. It's fucked. Warner Brothers has a new decision. It's called Warner Brothers Clockwork. Oscar winner Sean Baker is a new division. Sorry, it's called Warner Brothers Clockwork. Oscar winner Sean Baker is directing the first film called Te Amo, designed for low-budget films with innovative marketing campaigns. Oh, so this is our indie bullshit division designed to win Oscars. That's what this sounds like. The Quatering stated that he's having a hard time turning the other cheek. I would too if I was fantasy. Fuck. Supergirl star Millie Alcock said she had to learn 5 languages with pages of dialogue she had to learn and emote. Oh, it's so hard for you. Fucking shut the fuck up, dude.
Dishonor on your whole family. Make it.
Am drivers sleeping tonight knowing nobody believes Lena Dunham's bullshit anymore? Yeah, Lena Dunham, who's wildly fat, by the way. He's gotten wildly fat. Like, it's just true. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to body shame her thing. She's a big girl. She said that, like, on the set of Girls, like, he threw a chair at her and he was like trying to throw her around. Like, it's wild shit that she was saying he was doing. And it's like, I don't know. Had to sneeze again. Sorry. Again, I promise. I know I'm scratching my nose a lot and sneezing. I'm not on cocaine, okay? I swear, I'm not on cocaine. I'm not on the Ricada arc yet. I just have an itchy nose. My nose gets itchy when I stream, all right? Starfield fans don't even defend Bethesda anymore. They just look at you like this. Yeah. You just expect, like, Starfield. You just expect Bethesda games to be fucked in half a game at this point. Like, to protect the bull, we must become Jeremy Ambley, Anthony Hopkins. That's funny. You know what would be funny? If somebody went into Darkside Phil's chat and asked him about the Quatering. If he even knows who the fuck the Quatering is. And, like, what his opinion is on the situation. That'd be funny. The first trailer for DC's body horror thriller Clayface was screened at CinemaCon. Tom Reese Harris stars as shape-shifting Batman villain Clayface, whose real name is Matt Hagen. Matt starts out as a struggling actor whose face is disfigured and then undergoes a scientific transformation that turns his body entirely into clay. The trailer shows Matt sitting in a hospital bed with a bandaged, bloody face. He's attacked by a knife-wielding assailant and has mysterious chemicals pumped into him, giving him his powers. Matt's face changes repeatedly, showing him without an eye or mouth at times. At one point, he wipes away his entire face. Why are we doing this? Like, I forget if this is supposed to be an Elseworlds or not. I think it's not. But, like, why does James Gunn think that this is... I'm tired, boss. I finally caught up on the Akash Singh chairperson drama. Holy moly, this dude's wife with a podcast that nobody listens to has done more damage to him than any enemy ever could. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, caught. Now I know this game is going to be good. Oh yeah, because IGN said Mouse PI for Hire is a solid enough FPS that nails the aesthetic of both the 1930s cartoons, but its writing is so busy making references to other things that it's actually painful to sit through at times. It gave it a 6 out of 10. This is the lowest score of anybody who's rated it. Everybody's been like 8 of 10 and up. And most people are like, oh, IGN gave this a 6 out of 10. Probably going to be a really good game then. Anna Kendrick makes shock claim about aggressive Katy Perry touching her cleavage in resurfaced interview. Yeah, I don't know what it is about Katy Perry. She just wants to like aggressively touch and like she wants to cop a feel and like do dirty things with anything and everybody. Apparently. She's a handsy girl. She's a handsy girl. Make Marvel Comics great again. I mean, yeah. Those some big stars. Cringe alert. Sorry, kid. All the dudes you had to make this video with. He's awfully jumpy. Senator Gallego, Democrat of Arizona, on Representative Eric Swalwell. What's this? What's this here?
One is it, Senator?
Let's see here.
What were the rumors? It was flirty. That was flirty.
And that was when? About what year was it?
I mean, that was through. We've heard that. We've heard that throughout.
Senator, you just said. Thank you so much. I want to clarify because in the beginning,
No, I know we'll go back there.
In the beginning, you said when you first heard these rumors a few weeks ago, that's when you called him. Then you said you've heard these rumors for years. So which one is it, Senator?
Fuck.
So I heard rumors of him being flirty.
And that wasn't an issue enough for you to not trust him to watch your kids or be close with him?
Shit,
because,
dog.
You know, you hear this, and then when you're close to somebody, and you know his wife, you see this, you see that relationship, you know that like it maybe just isn't true.
Have you asked him about it prior to this few weeks?
No.
I asked him about it a few weeks ago when it started coming up online.
So the answer is no.
Why wouldn't you
Yes,
ask him about it if you're running his campaign, sir?
What were the
It was
rumors?
just very, it was,
This is a guilty fucking looking man. That is how a guilty fucking person acts, by the way. Moon-blooded breeding clinic. Oh my god, dude. What are we? Men aren't the ones buying this shit. Just saying. Yeah. But
It's time to go. It's time to go. Hope it doesn't end soon. Gotta keep it going, gotta get it flowing, gotta go.
I mean,
Try to relax your anus.
It's truly sad times when I'm more excited for this movie than The Hunt for Gollum. I mean, it's The Hunt for Gollum. I mean, the name is in it, right? Neurotic? I mean, the Kino Casino channel is unlikely to be reinstated because it's against the rules to post clips of banned shows without transformation commentary, etc. A few years ago, I had an idea to make Clips channel of all the right-wing stuff that I personally watch that wasn't on YouTube. Gumroad, Censored TV, blah, 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 blah. A clip of Nick Fuentes debating Alex Jones went viral, and it got taken down along with the millennial clip. YouTube explained it was against the rules to repost banned creators. Despite what Worski has been saying, the original large Kino Casino channel called Daka Daka was terminated by, which means all Kino Casino Clips channels on YouTube are lost cause. So, okay. So he's trying to say that because one account was banned, permanently banned, trying to upload videos of a Clips channel of that show's videos is going to get them banned. But he's not uploading. He's uploading clips from streams on Kick. So that's not really the same thing. I don't know if he knows that or not. Oh, this is a post showing how basically pan and scan worked for old school televisions. If you were a kid and you had a grandma like me that made you watch Turner Classic Movies, you saw like little things in between movies that explain how this happened already. True villain of the Titanic, I'm prepared, and I'm tired of pretending she's not. Nobody's that's just facts. Camelot. Only scumbags try to get people deplatform. Yeah. King Gamer, yeah, that guy. PlayStation, Sony ponies, dude. Sony ponies are right up there with the Quatering trying to do this shit, man. The best movie of 2026 incoming. The first trailer for Godzilla Minus Zero has been released. Hot take. I'm not a massive fan of monster movies, including Godzilla. Hotter take. The only real Godzilla movie I've seen is the 99 Godzilla movie, and I liked it. And I don't fucking care what you think. I like it. It's a fun movie.
Damn.
So yeah. No, this Bruce saying, following adaptation I can get behind. A R-rated animated Busy Boy 3D movie is in the works. James Rolfe. Okay. I don't know what that is, so. Roma. Oh yeah, it was like, what is it? Where is it here? Scrolling down. Diana Rossini. This is the journalist for The Athletic that was 100% cheating on her husband. That if you watch any interviews with her, multiple interviews of her, she apparently hates. Like, she talks with the guy about the guy with such disdain, such apathy. And then at the end, she's always trying to say, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm kidding. No, she hates the dude she's married to. And clearly cheating on him with probably multiple different guys. But was at least, allegedly, right? Allegedly. But it was at least photographed canoodling with Mike Vrabel. And then she was suspended after all these videos and allegations came out. And now she's resigning. She's gone. Because, yeah. Clearly, where there was smoke, there was fire. Gets a white racist man's heart, becomes a good. All right. Somehow I don't think this scammer is going to give Mara her account back. No thanks, scammer. Give Mara her account back. Okay. Yeah. Mara, yeah, she got a scammer, yeah. I got the same message. It was weird. I knew something was up, so I didn't. Why do you hate earthbenders? Do I? Then explain this. Fuck Earth, hail air. Yeah, because I feel like Toph crushes on everybody. Anyway. I wanted a game. That's an ad. Turn negative stars and everybody wants to fuck me. A dark comedy thriller about a man who discovers every woman in the world is stalking him. Studio Canal unveiled the teaser. CinemaCon. Its working title, and it's the biggest laugh of the night. Well, that's cool. Cool, Allening. Wait till you see how much they're gonna make from the next gen representative service. Rockstar Games made $5 billion just from Shark. Yeah, I mean, if you don't think that Rockstar and like GTA are gonna be just fine money wise, no matter what they do, trust me. All right, more bullshit, more bullshit. Disney can't make television. Yeah, for Tanga. They flagged Molly's tweet about quartering. Jeremy is now targeting more than just YouTube video. Shit. Oh man, it's not looking good for the guy. It's not looking good. It's all just that. Anyway, where are we? We're at 3 hours now. It's 1 a.m. local time. I think I'm gonna have to call it here. I wish it could go longer. I'm really feeling it tonight, but we're gonna stop here. Hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. More videos and shorts in the meantime. We'll have the gaming stream on Thursday night. At least that's what we're planning as usual. We will, I think, I was going to go back to Fable, but I think we might be playing Windrose, maybe. I don't know. Which Windrose is the new, it's like Sea of Thieves, basically, but with survival mechanics and better graphics. So we'll play that, and we'll see how it goes, maybe. Or we might go back to Fable, I'm not sure. Crimson Desert is a lot, and I thought I was done learning new things about Crimson Desert. Turns out I wasn't. So yeah. I could stream more of that, but I probably won't. Yeah. Hope you guys have had a good night. If you're catching on the VOD, make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. You guys are what makes this whole thing go around, what makes it worth it. Appreciate every single one of you, all the subscribers, all the lurkers, Jack of all casuals in the chat as usual, kind of going back and forth. Always makes the stream flow a little bit smoother, I feel, having somebody bounce off of. I appreciate you guys fully. More content, like I said, is coming in the meantime. Probably video out tomorrow for sure. And you guys have a good night. We'll talk to you again later. Good night.